Well, good afternoon. It's Thursday. I'm Dan Stein with Shari Rendall, Affairs Director, State and Local Policy, and does a great job for us in the field program. We're taking a break from the impeachment droning that is droning on, and we'll continue for some time, talk about things that really matter right now. Immigration policy at the state and local level in the battleground states that are coming online. And I know that those of you who work on immigration policy will be very interested in what we're going to talk about right now, because as I say, state and local policies are the frontline battlegrounds on whether or not we control our borders and have interior immigration law enforcement. And you have some states that are pushing in the right direction, the correct direction, and other states that are pushing in the wrong direction. And not surprisingly, you see a certain partisan breakdown. Not all the time, but a lot of the times. Some of the states are pushing legislation to give illegal aliens driver's licenses. Here, after all these years, we still see states didn't learn the lesson from various terror incidents over time that giving driver's licenses to people whose identity cannot be verified or background cannot be definitively checked is not a good idea. But New York, New Jersey, and some other states are considering it. And only by waking up residents, getting you involved, can we stop this kind of madness. We also see a number of so-called sanctuary bills being passed or attempted to be passed in some of those same states, as a matter of fact. These are the ones where ICE detainers, immigration detainers are not honored. And we are seeing one nightmare story after another, some new ones coming out of New York State about the consequences of various policy changes where they're releasing criminal aliens who should have been deported back on the street, who then turn around and wind up committing crimes. Again, Americans helpless to the impacts of these policies in their community. But on the good news side, and we're going to talk about that too, there are some positive bills that are being considered in states around the country to ban sanctuary cities, ban sanctuary jurisdictions. And there are battles over the driver's license issue as well. And so here to talk to us about some of these key states, some of these areas where you can get involved directly, where you can attend these hearings, you can be part of the solution, where you can push back against policies, which we all know. And the acting director of Homeland Security, Mr. Wolf, has made it quite clear, particularly these driver's license policies, which are under review, are very dangerous. So I'm also here with my little pad, and I can see your comments and questions, and hopefully if you are on board, you can ask questions, and I will endeavor, or Shari will endeavor to answer them as she continues to work with our team all across the country. So Shari, what state are we going to focus on first?
Well, Dan, first of all, thanks for having me here today.
Sure.
Ohio is one of the states we're going to focus on today. They actually have an anti-sanctuary hearing going on today. It started at 11. And it's for the sponsor of the anti-sanctuary bill. In Ohio, they break it down into 3 hearings. They have the sponsors do a hearing, and then they follow it with 2 subsequent hearings, one for opponents and one for supporters. So this is the first of 3 hearings that we'll likely have in Ohio, and we're hoping that this will be the year that we can actually move that important legislation through.
So if you're in Ohio, where do you need to be part of these hearings?
Well, the one this morning was already, we have a great group of activists led by Ralph King out there who really—
Ralph King, good man.
Want to praise him for his actions out in Ohio. We had been pushing, and he actually took to Facebook and Twitter to shame the chairman of the Criminal Justice Committee to get this hearing started. So great work out in Ohio, and we're looking forward to moving these. And once we have a date for the proponents hearing, we'll let you know.
Yeah, Ralph, if you're listening, post comments on our Facebook feed to tell us a little bit more about how you did it and what worked and what others can do to emulate your success all around the country.
Tomorrow, we have another hearing. This one not as positive. This is in Massachusetts. We have a sanctuary hearing. This was supposed to be
Massachusetts. We just moved to Massachusetts.
Yes.
It's the land of all good ideas, Massachusetts.
Well, we've been fairly successful at holding sanctuary policies at bay. in that state so far. We do have
activists have done a great job beating back a number of bad proposals in Massachusetts, so it's really not a entirely lost cause, right?
Absolutely, and they can engage. In fact, we have a group up there led by our field representative, Jonathan Hannon, up there right now. The hearing's tomorrow before the Joint Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security.
The Joint Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security, and that's in Springfield?
Boston.
Boston. Okay, that hearing is going to be in Boston. Jonathan Hannon from FAIR's up there, and some very able activists and any local groups.
Yes, so we have Sheriff Hodgson, who is joining.
Thomas Hodgson, member of the Fair Advisory Board, fabulous sheriff, Bristol
County,
Yeah.
And he will be there.
You see, he was featured on the Netflix documentary on Hernandez.
Oh, I need to go look at that.
I think he must have I didn't watch the whole documentary, he must have known him when he was young.
I'm going to have to watch that now that you said that. And we have Angel Families up there. I know Maureen Maloney will be there, and a lot of activist groups. Great group up there that are very engaged. So they'll be fighting that. We're hoping that.
Do they need more people to turn out? Do you need more folks out there?
Absolutely. Because
if you're in Boston, you want to get out for this hearing tomorrow.
Yes, the other side will come out in force. And
the hearing again, the committee?
Is the Joint Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security.
Joint Committee, Public Safety, Homeland Security, and this hearing is in Boston. Okay, is it in the address? Is anywhere on our website?
The address is on the website for the alert that went out to.
Okay. If you're on our activist alert and you're in the Boston area, you would have gotten an alert about this hearing.
Yes.
By the way, Mark Chapman is asking, I don't understand how city officials aren't prosecuted for harboring criminals and they don't turn them over to ICE. Why aren't they prosecuted? You're an attorney. You want to take a stab at that?
Well, I think it's one of those things that the federal government's starting to look at, but also
technically they are violating the law, right? This is felony harboring, right?
Yes, but I think it's also one of those things that's
Didn't they
harder
prosecute
to
a
prove.
judge in Massachusetts though for trying to help that person avoid ICE?
Escape
so if there's
through
overt
that.
effort to prevent them from actually interfering with ICE, you would think a willing ignoring of an ICE detainer would be the equivalent of that, and certainly that is the kind of prosecution FAIR would support.
Absolutely, I think they're
Thank you, Mark.
Actually looking at going after Sacramento. Wasn't it the mayor?
Yeah, mayor of Sacramento. Good question. I love your questions. Keep them coming.
Yeah.
All right, where else?
So we have another anti-sanctuary bill that's been filed in Kentucky. It's SB 1. And
okay, we're in Kentucky. We're talking about SB 1. Major
1.
battles in Kentucky right now on the sanctuary issue, right? The state is really pushing to stop it.
Absolutely, and the sponsor was Senator Carroll, and he's made some really strong statements about that. This was a bill that we expected a hearing on this week. It has not yet been calendared. We have seen it read twice and referred to the Judiciary Committee, so that is the hearing that we're expecting to come in the next couple weeks.
Give me a nutshell. Why is SB 1 important?
Well, it will stop the criminal aliens from being released back into our communities to further engage in criminal activity.
And it overrules every other adverse local ordinance in Kentucky, right?
Yes.
SB 1. This is a very important bill. If you're in Kentucky, you want to be supporting SB 1.
Yes.
Okay, this is a major important push in a major state, Kentucky, obviously very important. And we need that kind of unified support, and this would make it impossible to have any local sanctuary non-cooperation policy throughout the state.
That's right.
And is there a hearing yet? Not on that?
It was supposed to be possibly this week. It hasn't yet shown up, so we're hoping in the next couple of weeks that we'll see this go forward. And this is one where there is a Republican legislature and a Democrat governor. They do have a supermajority down there, so hopefully we'll be able to push that one through this legislative year.
Does it look good?
Hopefully it does, yeah. I anticipate we should be able to.
And what are you hearing? Do you think immigration is going to be a major election issue in the upcoming campaign? And what do you all think? Do you think it will be?
We're hearing from folks that it is looking to be a major issue. In fact, I heard polling from someone I was talking to, and they said when they go out to the states that it's the #1 issue that is being talked about, even more so than healthcare, more so than jobs.
Trump administration, are they going to talk about it during the campaign? Brad Parshall said, well, we've already got the immigration control voters, so the president doesn't need to talk about that. That sound like it would make sense?
It doesn't seem like it would make sense with this
saying
being
we need to bring in new voters.
Well, this is a signature issue for him, and it's been so important to the whole dialogue surrounding the issue that...
So is he getting bad advice from these hackneyed, shop-worn consultants who don't have any idea what the public thinks?
That's not my pay grade. That's above my pay grade. We do have a hearing also scheduled, a sanctuary hearing in Maryland.
Okay, we just moved to Maryland. If you're in Maryland, you want to listen to this.
And we have been successful in fighting sanctuary legislation for the past couple of legislative sessions in Maryland.
Maryland's a hot mess, let me tell you.
It is, especially Montgomery County. But they have a hearing February 11th, so activists are going to be gearing up for that. We have a great group there, legal immigrants, angel families, activists, sheriffs, including Sheriff Jenkins, Sheriff Gaylor, Sheriff Lewis. They've been all engaged.
This is in Annapolis?
This is in Annapolis.
Yeah, oh, well, what are you going to say? The Frederick County Sheriff is a fabulous, fabulous guy. He has been on the front lines. Chuck Jenkins has been on the front lines of this issue. And for those of you in Maryland, I think Mar Salvaro is asking, she said, how can these politicians put these proposals, we pay their, how can they not put our safety first? We pay their wages, right, Mar? We pay and what's the answer to that? Do you have an answer?
I would say that they are just turning a blind eye to the safety of the folks in their community, and they need to hear from you. They need to be told this is not what you want. And the more you can let them know that your safety needs to come first, then they will take action. And we've seen some Democrats in Maryland, when they have been at the hearing, start to question why sanctuary policies need to be enacted. And so you do
in fact,
see...
really the broader question, and I agree with Shari, what she's saying, is that the point is, these politicians do what they want in league with these non-government organizations that get a lot of funding from foundations that are pushing the agenda. Hardworking, tax-paying Americans are busy living their lives, being productive, taking care of their families, and aren't paying attention to what is happening in the legislature. But when Americans turn out in big numbers, when we have a show of force, when we come out to the hearings, when we make them know through large Facebook groups and others that they're engaged in a highly articulated way, these policies do not stand and will not be enacted. But the point is, we all have to care as citizens and have to be engaged, and that's what this is all about.
And you saw this just the past summer in Montgomery County, when we had that huge rally against the sanctuary expansion, the executive order there, and the numbers were such that he was forced to kind of backwalk his policy.
But it is amazing. This is the first time in my recollection, almost 40 years, where we've seen this overt resistance at the state level, where they're doing everything possible, not only to prevent immigration enforcement, but to encourage and facilitate it all across the country. Joe Biden made a statement the other day. He said, I would not deport illegal alien drunk drivers. I would fire a government official who actually enforced the law that Congress has passed. And of course,
that he probably voted for.
And allegedly they say they want to impeach Trump for not carrying out some impoundment clause on money that he eventually went to Ukraine. President Obama did not enforce by the millions immigration law. So it's very difficult to understand where this duty to enforce the law or carry it out takes place, because apparently they believe, right now, Joe Biden apparently believes that he can nullify immigration law that's on the books that Congress passed. And Tom Holman said on Fox News, if you don't like the law, change it. Well, you know what? We like the law. We don't want to change the law. We want to enforce the law. It's very simple.
Absolutely.
All right, so to get the law enforced, where else do we need to go?
Well, one good piece of news was in Idaho. Idaho had a Republican legislator.
All right, we went to Idaho. You got to pay attention because Shari moves fast.
We're traveling the country.
We've been through Kentucky, Maryland, Massachusetts,
Ohio,
and now we're in Ohio, and now we're in Idaho.
So Idaho, a Republican legislator had introduced a driver's license bill for illegal aliens, Representative Guthrie, and
we're seeing something like that in Florida right now too, by the way.
Yes.
We're deploying our forces down to Florida, so you know, we've got to stop this. Go ahead, Idaho.
Absolutely. So we reached out to sheriffs we had worked with in Idaho, and actually there was a statement made opposing the legislation. A couple days later, he says he's shelving the bill for now so that he can reconsider what to do. He says he still wants to do this, but at least the pressure was there to stop this right now. And it gives us a chance to really motivate all of you to take action. And
sometimes just that delay is what we need to get our troops in array and get involved, you know? I mean, it's amazing because we have public consensus and agreement out there. You all agree. Your neighbors agree. People agree. But if they don't hear about it or they don't get organized fast enough, you get that little delay, scare a politician off from introducing the bill for 3 or 4 months, organize the forces, get out there, we can stop this nonsense.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that we look to do is, you know, in certain situations, we just need enough delay to get through the session, and then they have to fight this battle again.
And that's why you need to be on our email list and sign up, get our alerts. If you haven't signed up for FAIR's emails, it's free. Go on our website, FAIRUS, fairus.org. You get the action alerts that are specifically tailored to your geographic area, your city, your community. You'll find out what's going on, and you can be part of this effort to help save the country. There's always more coming down the pike. For various reasons, since President Trump took office, there has been absolutely this full-on court press among many of the Democrat-controlled legislatures to really obstruct immigration law. So, let's see. Rodrigo Casara says Sanctuary City should be outlawed, and all those Democratic officials that have promoted and supported Sanctuary City are going to have to be held accountable. Okay, well, I'm sure. And someone said if Joe Biden's not going to uphold the law, that's Donald Wolf. Why is he running for president, you know?
That's a good question.
I remember when President Obama was president, and I was on Fox News, and I basically somebody said, well, why does he have to enforce the law? I said, well, why did he run for president if he didn't want to uphold his oath to enforce or carry out the law? Anyhow, I think all of us know that this is something that's very important, and wherever you are, in whatever state you are, you can be part of this national effort, because while there's not always a state matter going on or a city matter going on, now there will be, okay? There will be sometime this year, there will be sometime in the next 24 months, and as always, there are national issues to consider. So FAIR is your stop, your one-stop shop, your only shop, the place you need to be. Okay, this is the place where you're going to get the best information, the best opportunities for action, the best place to make a difference. fairus.org. Shari does a great job with a fabulous team all across the country, and I am Dan Stein. I'm president, and I want to thank you for joining us, and we will be back again with you very soon.